Let's go.
Welcome to the Ride Home Review,
where we talk about the movie we just watched on our ride home.
Then we do our best to improve the movie by rewriting the story on the fly.
The hosts of the Ride Home Review are sci-fi fantasy author T.K. Thompson
and film pundit Dustin Thompson.
Spoiler alert! Alright everybody, this is your official warning. All of our reviews will be filled with spoilers of the movie. So if you have not seen this movie yet, please listen at your own risk. Alright everyone, welcome to episode 5 of the Ride Home Review. Today we're going to be talking about Doctor Strange.
Woo!
So we just got done watching Doctor Strange, and it was super fun.
Super fun.
Yeah. So what are your first initial thoughts and reactions, Tamara?
Well, because before we even went to go to see the movie, my fear was, after seeing all the previews, was that it's going to be in an Inception type of movie. And that was my deepest worry, was that I was just going to be watching Inception again. But it was very much refreshing that it was not Inception. It actually kind of like blew your mind out of the water, Inception. Right. So,
yeah, this made Inception look like your grandma's movie versus this one. This was amazing. Like, if you thought the visual effects of Inception were awesome, this goes to a whole new level. Like, the little details and moving parts of buildings and things were incredible. Like, I honestly think you watch this movie 10 times, 100 times, and probably see new things every single time you watch it. So, very cool. Any other initial thoughts?
Well, my favorite parts of the movie involved the cape.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it would have been nearly as entertaining if it wasn't for that cape.
I completely agree. Like, the cape was like Aladdin's magic carpet. Like, the cape had its own personality. It was its own character. The cape did so many funny and great things, and it made sense.
It stole the show. It really did. At times stole the show.
Yeah.
Like, there's that big fighting scene where it's like the first time that him and the cape are together.
Right.
And you don't know if you're supposed to be watching what Doctor Strange is doing, or if you're supposed to be watching what the cape is doing.
Yeah, like it was smashing some guy's head on the floor and on the ceiling and on the wall. It was great.
Yeah, it really did just steal the show. I mean, you wanted to watch it because of what it was doing, and you were laughing hysterically, yet it was supposed to be like this high, intense moment of the movie.
Right. No, I completely agree. Like, the cape was an amazing character. It was so funny. I loved how the cape was like, no, don't go over there. You're looking for this weapon over here. So, like, which makes me want to know more about the cape. Like, how does the cape know these things? And maybe you're not supposed to know these things, but it was a really fun part of the movie. Okay, so let's get to, like, the story of Doctor Strange. Right. Now, this is a traditional, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? Where the hero's becoming the hero. Oh my gosh. I'm thinking of, like, coming of age. Was that coming of age? Anyways, it's initialization. It's the beginning of a superhero, right?
Like his origin story?
Origin stories, thank you. That's what I was trying to think.
Seriously, that was the word you were thinking of?
Yeah, so this is a traditional origin story type of movie, and usually I don't love origin story movies because it's like, all right, let's get past the you becoming a superhero. I want to see you be a superhero. But I thought this was one of the most well done origin stories for a superhero movie. Now, so some of the things that I really loved is I loved the man, Doctor Strange, that they painted, or the story they told us of who he was. I was worried they were going to go very traditional, old school, doctor with a god complex type of a person, and he was.
He did,
but he wasn't super traditional. Like, he wasn't like a major womanizer, or he wasn't a huge drunk or any of those things. He just knew he was really good at what he did, but then he was witty and he had fun with Rachel McAdams. You could tell they liked each other. But I like that they didn't give him a lot of the problems that a lot of that type of character normally has, which is they drink, they party, they don't care about anyone else, and they sleep with any women they want left and right. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't see that part, and I was glad they didn't, because it showed us that he really truly loved his craft of being a doctor. In fact, that's how he got in the car accident, which was stupid, texting and looking at your phone while driving a nice car. But so, and then I liked how they handled his falling down to rock bottom, trying to get his hands back and burning basically the bridges and relationships that he had. I really liked that part of the movie. Your thoughts?
I feel like they could have maybe developed the relationship between him and Rachel McAdams more. You know what I mean? Because I didn't feel like there was... I mean, there was that light flirtatious scene, you know what I mean? And then the breakup scene. But it was like... They didn't really establish a very heavy, like, relationship between them. It wasn't very defined until he said in the end, well... we were just two people sleeping with each other. Or he said something to that effect. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You know?
Like, that they had a relationship, but it was very casual, and they really didn't, like, they tried to date or something like that. Yeah.
Right. Anyway. So... But
at the same time, having a very defined relationship with a woman earlier on in a story is kind of a trope or cliche for a superhero type of origin story. So at the same time... they did it a little bit differently.
That's true. I'm not saying that it had to be, like, totally defined, but I felt like they could have showed us more of their interaction within the hospital and how they ticked, how they worked together, how they were like clockwork. You know what I mean? How they knew each other well. Sort of a thing. Not so much that it was on the romantic level. We didn't really need to see that. You know what I mean?
Just more how they interacted between each other almost as colleagues more than romantically and things like that. So.
I felt like they could have just added a few scenes that would have spiced that up just a little. Sure.
Yeah. Now, so one of the biggest concerns I had with a movie like this is Doctor Strange is a weird looking guy. His costume's weird. If you looked at any pictures of Doctor Strange in the comics books, I thought, there's no way they're going to be able to make this movie because it's just too weird. It's too far out there. And I thought, there's no way a general movie audience that loves, like, Iron Man, that loves really militaristic gear or, like, looks and aesthetics in movies that are more in the real world, they're going to all of a sudden fall for this kung fu magic movie, right?
Kung fu magic movie.
Right. I was really worried about it. But you know what? I'll have to say, Benedict Cumberbatch, now he's been known to be a very handsome man, but not a traditionally handsome man. He's kind of a weird looking guy, but ladies love him, you know? And I thought he was like the perfect guy to play this weird character. And their design of Doctor Strange, I think, was right on the mark. Mm-hmm. Like, I love how you start seeing him build his wardrobe, but it's more him training in this Middle Eastern country, and the training very much makes me feel of, like, old kung fu type of mastery or training robes or things like that. And then it evolves to this cape, because no guy's going to really wear a cape. But that'll make sense why he wears a cape, because the cape isn't just, this looks cool on a character. There was a reason.
Right.
You know, the cape was an enchanted thing that helped him... An artifact that helped him fly, right? That helped him do all these things. So I felt like the way they introduced the look of Doctor Strange was layered, and it happened at the right moments. By the time he was fully dressed as Doctor Strange with the eye of Agamotto around his chest on the necklace, we bought it.
Right.
But it didn't all of a sudden happen at once, because if he walked in there, did a little training, and all of a sudden walked out looking like that, we would all been like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I agree. Also, I liked how they set up, because it's always like, yeah, we're going to train our warrior, right?
Right.
And then you're just like, yeah, he can't get that good in that short amount of time. Like,
right.
They're really fudging the lines here. But with him, it was all about that because he was a doctor, he had this skill of learning. And remembering everything that he learned.
Right. I think they said he had an eidetic memory.
Right.
And that's how he becomes such a good doctor.
Right. So playing on that helped me see, that he can really excel because he already has the resources to excel. Right. It's like when they take a warrior and say, you're going to be the greatest warrior, and all they have is a lump of clay, and the next scene we see him fighting the best moves in the world. Right. But here, he was quite the underdog and couldn't do half of the stuff that all of them were doing because of his disability and because of his mental block.
Right.
And so it was good to see him be the underdog and struggle and not be the on top person.
Right. In fact, I love that in the first real fight that Doctor Strange has with, and I always forget the name of Mads Mikkelsen's character. It starts with a K. It's like, what is it? Yeah, it's Calicus or Calicus or whatever. That he was getting his butt handed to him. Like, he kept, falling over himself and hurting himself, and he barely got out of there. But then he did use his smarts, like trapping those people in the other rooms. And then, obviously, the cape really helped him out as well.
The reason why he won that battle was because the cape jumped in.
No, it's totally true. So it was refreshing to see that that progression, that our hero wasn't all of a sudden the best wizard or whatever they were immediately. I really like that. But at the same thing, Doctor Strange was a different type of master of the mystical arts than the other guys were. Right? Like, Doctor Strange thought of breaking the rules, and the way he would think was different and not as traditional as the other masters of the mystical arts were, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the Ancient One. Did you like the Ancient One?
I liked her, but I think they totally underutilized her in this film. Like, I loved her putting him in his place, saying, "You know nothing, puny little doctor." Right. You know what I mean? I really enjoyed that, but I don't think that they built up enough hype when it came to how she is the Ancient One. They didn't drop enough suspicion so that we were doubting her ourselves. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they lost a big opportunity there by not challenging us, the viewers to not believe in her as well and think that she's part of the dark side. And, I thought they really could have had our loyalty split there.
Right. Because they introduced this whole thing like, she's using the Dark Realm's magic really quick, and then all of a sudden the next scene, yes, it's validated, she's using the dark side's magic, and then all of a sudden she's dead.
Right.
Like, where they could have introduced that doubt in any of the Master's minds, in Mordo's mind, or for Doctor Strange or Wong, any of those Masters, they could have introduced this doubt in this person that was their master and their trainer and their teacher a little bit earlier on. And then, because Doctor Strange is that type of person who challenges the status quo, challenges authority, we could have really seen him do that as well, to obviously in the end get it wrong and that she was just doing what she thought what was right. Because I thought that scene where she dies and they're in like the spirit realm talking before she really passes on was really great, but it didn't land as hard as it could have been emotionally if they would have built that up a little bit more earlier on in the story.
Yeah, I agree. And then I didn't really feel Mordo's
at the end of the movie,
at the end of the movie, it was like a cop out for me. Like, that I could see how he can hold the Ancient One responsible for her actions because she knows so much more than everyone. But to say, I can't walk this path anymore because once again we have broken the rules, doesn't make you turn away from everything that you know it should make you deeper, like more conviction.
Right.
More conviction in we don't break rules. And he should have been willing to stick around and defend the consequences of it, because Doctor Strange didn't know all the rules, even though he broke them, And so the fact that he just turns and is like, no, this is all wrong, and I'm butthurt, and now I'm going to be the enemy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I didn't feel it.
Yeah, actually, I didn't feel it either, and I know they needed a device to make him go bad, but, like, think about it. He was the Ancient One's, like, number one guy, right? She's now dead. He was been trained, taught, and educated to defend Earth. And now that the Ancient One's dead, he's just going to be like...
walk away from the mantle?
Well, yeah, he's like, well, technically, he should be the one who steps up to lead all these people to make sure Earth is defended, and he could do it better than the Ancient One did if that's the way he wanted to do it. But he all of a sudden decides that he doesn't care about defending the realms and Earth or anything after that. I just didn't buy it. Like, they should have either put in some scenes of his doubt earlier on, or how she betrayed him in a certain way by lying to him about something very personal.
That's why I'm saying they didn't hype up that relationship with the Ancient One and him. Like, he was 100% devoted, and then all of a sudden at the end, his world comes crashing down.
Right, and he's going to trust Doctor Strange to now be the guy?
Right.
To, like, save the world? I mean, he just did save the world, but he did it against what his beliefs were. So if anything, I think Mordo in that moment would be like, no, Doctor Strange, you're still doing this wrong. I'm now going to have to make sure this is done right. Like, that's what would have been believable to me for his character. So it wasn't believable for him to turn away and abandon everything, but that's...
And then the one thing that really irked me that I totally did not like was the very last, what do you call it, blip at the end of all the credits.
Oh, it was the after credit. It was the special scenes after the credits. There were two post-credit scenes.
Right.
And you didn't like the second post-credit scene with Mordo.
No. Right. Because I felt like it totally just destroyed the science that I had learned in the movie.
Right. Like how easily he sucked this guy's power from him.
Right.
When they just trained us in the whole movie that power is not given to one person. Power is among us all, and we just have to learn how to harness it. So that didn't make any sense.
Seriously, it was like the worst thing you could have put at the end of that movie for me, because I left out. I was like all hyped up. I love this. I love this. I love this. And then that came on, and I'm like, man, I hate this.
Right.
I hate this because of that one little scene. And I'm like, I know that they obviously want to go on and keep creating, but I just felt like it was the wrong avenue to...
Right. Well, and there you go, like breaking your own universe's rules. I mean, they didn't give us the whole rule book about the universe and the mystic arts, don't get me wrong, so they can do whatever the heck they want. But the whole movie thus far felt like the mystical arts were kind of like the Force, like in Star Wars, where it's all there, you just got to learn how to use it. But then that very last end credit scene made it look like you could take away someone's force. And that's not how the Force works. That's not how the mystical arts work. You can't just take it from someone. Now, if he was going to hurt him or trap him or kill him, that's a whole nother story.
Right.
That makes more sense. But no, I agree with you. But folks, don't get us wrong. We loved this movie.
I loved the movie. It was good.
Like, we're nitpicking on things that they could have improved, but honestly, we walked out of this movie and I was saying this has got to be one of the best Marvel movies we've ever seen.
And I totally wanted a magic carpet cape.
I might shave my beard to be like Doctor Strange's little goatee. No, we really love this movie. Out of 5 stars, what would you give it?
I don't know. What do you give it?
I'm giving it 4.75.
Oh, wow.
That's high. I can't give it a 5 out of 5 because, you know me, there's just not many movies that get 5 out of 5 stars for me. They have to have an X factor of brilliance where the movie is absolutely perfect. There's nothing I would change, and I couldn't hope in a million years to even think up of a story told that well.
Yeah.
That type of star ratings saved for movies like Schindler's List or what's the one where they break out of prison? That one I love so much. Shawshank Redemption. But so this movie is a 4.75 out of 5, which is huge for me. I'm struggling trying to figure out in my brain if I like it more than Captain America Civil War, because that movie to me is the best Marvel movie ever made, or Guardians of the Galaxy, and now this one's up there. It's up there for me. How about you?
I definitely give it a 4, especially when I think of the scene with Rachel McAdams and Doctor Strange is dying and she sees his spirit.
Oh yeah, that was so good.
She did some awesome reactions in that scene. It was like, yeah, that really does sound like what someone might do if you just saw someone's spirit stuck out of the mirror room. Or I'm just like, ooh. But yeah. She did a great job. And then when that mop fell
in the background and she reacted to it, like, honestly, the acting in this movie was really, really great.
Yeah, it was.
And they had some really amazing humor in the movie that paid off. Like, they set up jokes early on in the movie that paid off at the very end. Like Wong, how they're like, do you ever laugh, Wong? And then at the very end, he's all laughing at Doctor Strange.
I really think that they could have deepened, though, our nemesis and our Ancient One. Like,
yeah, I mean,
I felt it was just playing on the surface there. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think the acting from both Tilda Swinton and Mads Mikkelsen was great. Was absolutely great. Could it have been a little bit deeper? Yes, of course. They could have been a little deeper. And I think that's the reason why I don't give this movie a 5 out of 5 stars. And that's usually the number one problem with Marvel movies is their villains aren't developed enough. Because when you think of the best villain ever to be in a comic book movie, you think of Heath Ledger's Joker, right?
Right.
And no villain in a Marvel movie so far has been able to be close enough to even hold a candle to Heath Ledger's Joker. So until they get a performance and a character development in a movie from a villain like that, that's when a Marvel movie to me is going to get a 5 out of 5 stars.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
we loved it. There were so many great parts, so many funny parts. Benedict Cumberbatch, you are my hero. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Everyone go see the Doctor Strange.
The Doctor Strange
no, just
movie.
Doctor Strange. Any last thoughts?
Nope, that's all.
All right, our next episode coming up will be Hacksaw Ridge, which will be the return of Mel Gibson to Hollywood directing movies. I'm very excited about that. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.